This is Ryan from xCannabis. It is November 13th, 2012, and we are giving a site report. This is about the technicalities of the site, the specific coding and things that we're doing with the site front end for users, including the cannagrams, the xCannabis that people can use to buy things on our site. So their participation earns them points, which we call cannagrams, and then those points can be used to buy things on our store, like bullion, hemp pants, all kinds of cool things. Our hemp pants are really cool. We only have size 32, but we have 3 different colors, and we will be getting other sizes in eventually. So right now we've got a bunch of pairs of 32. We got all kinds of things. I've got Gary Johnson rolling papers. I don't have them here right now. I'll have to, well, I can actually do that. I can go grab them and show you. I'll pause it. Okay, so first of all, I got the Gary Johnson rolling papers. As you can see, these are really cool. I got these for the 2012 election, and I got me a bunch of these for collecting, but I'm going to give these away for somebody else to either collect or use. I mean, they're fully usable. They're good papers. They're just like the standard zigzags. Nothing too fancy about them other than they promote Gary Johnson, which if I would have been able to vote, but I wasn't in my precinct and we hadn't changed our address and all that, so we weren't able to vote, I would have voted for Gary Johnson. When it came down to it, I kept saying, I'm going to vote for Ron Paul. He's my man. I'm going to vote for Ron Paul. When it came down to it logistically, it made more sense. Mike can explain this very well. It made a lot of sense to vote for Gary Johnson because the Libertarian Party gets federal matching dollars in the next election if they get that 5%. So I wanted to give that 5% to them in case they wanted to employ that, just in case. But anyway, I also had a bunch of this bullion, which some of it was Ron Paul bullion, and most of it that I'm giving away is Bitcoin bullion. Now, it's not actual Bitcoins, it's physical copper bullion. It's 1 ounce, 0.999% pure copper bullion. It's not worth a whole lot. It's just cool. It's a collector's item. I collect all kinds of things, and I like to share my collection. So let me show you one last thing in my collection. I've got about, 40 or 50 pair of these. I'll be right back. This kind of illustrates what we're missing out on in the American market. This is a pair of hemp pants. They're hemp cell pants, so it's like hemp and recycled material like cellophane and stuff. Mostly hemp. I think it's like 60-40 on the blend. Anyway, they're from the Harvest Hemp Company in Australia. And I think this company recently went out of business. I picked up a whole bunch of these for really a good deal. And it was a veteran organization. It was like Vets for Vets that I got them from. They're in San Diego. They run a thrift store, and they do everything they do to help veterans. So this is my veteran dedication as well. All the veterans that are out there that are, need help, need, treatment of some sort, or just need a friend, just someone to lift them up. I ask you to do that. And they've been benefiting me. The veterans that I've been getting these from, have greatly benefited my life. And so we go down sometimes to the post office, and right next to the post office is the veteran hall, and a lot of people go there and get services. And we like to spend time sometimes with the veterans down there when we're able, and buy them lunch, or hang out and just talk or whatever. But they could always use a hand up, especially the ones that are suffering from PTSD and don't have a lot of medical treatment available to them. But anyway, those pants, those are the size 32. Those are black. I also have olive and natural. I don't know how many of each that I have, but I have several of those. Many of them I keep. I've got a whole collection of different things that we use in our stores, and since our store is closed down right now, we're using this time to build up our inventory. So I'm buying things that will help our store in the future. And that's my wife's gig, but I participate and I get some of the fruits of the labor because I help out. So I'm getting a couple kickdowns from our store from my wife's business, and and we're sharing them with you guys. So we wanted to share our collection. I've got other things too. On the website, you'll see Bitcoins for sale and other things. We've got all kinds of stuff, but Bitcoins are really what we're promoting. It's a decentralized currency. There's no government or no bank or nobody in control of it. It's a community effort. It's open source. It's community driven. Nobody's there manipulating statistics or creating Bitcoins out of nowhere. Like we print money. It actually comes from actual work that people provide to the system to translate these coins, all over the world and verify their identities so that they can be fully processed and fully valid. So, people mine these coins by letting their processors do the work for the system, and then they get, in exchange, out of so many verified blocks that they've processed, they get so much coin. So it's a difficult process, and it takes a lot of computing power, and that's where they come from. The point is that it's an alternative to other online systems like PayPal or Dwala or Liberty Reserve or what other one, Money Bookers and stuff. It's one that doesn't work with centralized controlled currency. It's a currency that's based on a market value. The market value comes from what people put into it for labor, computer labor to process these coins. And so, that system is generated within a community, and it benefits more of the community than the banks or the governments that these other currencies come from. And, it's, in my opinion, a better alternative to pretty much any other currency in the world today. None of our currencies in the world past 1970 have any tangible value behind them. We used to have the gold standard in this country, and that was eradicated in 1970-ish. And there's a lot of things that I like about Bitcoin. Even though it still reflects a fiat currency, the fiat currency has a more measurable market value than other currencies that are manipulated and inflated and deflated and all the rest. Interest rates, and it's an interest-based currency when you're using a U.S. dollar, so it can be controlled by interest rates and other things. So Bitcoin is much different than that. It has its own independence. And so I think I've got 20 of these. Now this is just a pack of 10. I've also got a couple more packs, and I've got some Ron Paul. I might give one of my Ron Paul away, but I really treasure that man, and I mourn that he is retiring from Congress this next term. Yeah, it'll definitely be sad to see him go. He's made a lot of progress, inspired a lot of people, stood his ground, made the right choices, voted his conscience. Man, salute to you, Ron Paul, and thank you very much. There will never be another Ron Paul. So, we may give a couple of those away. And if you go to our store, if you just go to xCannabis.com/store, and it's going to take me a little bit to load because my computer's slow, so I'm just going to pause it while it's loading. Alright, this is our store, and you can kind of see an overview of what things cost and how you earn points. So each new comment is 5 points. Points for each new member is 10 points. Points for each new post, 10 points. Points for watched YouTube videos, 10 points. And this is only for YouTube videos that have been specified to be giving points, because I have to recode all of my videos on my site to be able to give you points, and I just haven't had the time to do that. So, from going forward here on out, these points will have a tangible value. These videos will have a tangible value attached to them if they give you points, or if they don't, it'll let you know above or below the video. Points for comments on authors' post is, and this is for people who are authors, not for people who are just posters or participants, but people who have actually written an article. They get 1 point each, and that's actually wrong. I got to change that. It should say 1. They get 1 point for each comment on their post, or on their blog post. So if we have guest authors, and we've had them in the past, and I'm hesitant to bring them on again, I just hate moderating that kind of thing and having the clash between ideas and political philosophies and things like that. So I like to stay independent, and I may not ever have another guest author, but we may, and often I'll repost other people's stuff. I mean, for example, like if NJ Weedman wanted to post on xCannabis, and I doubt he ever would, I would be all about that. That'd be cool with me. NJ Weedman is a rock star. If Roger Christie wanted a guest account on this, on this blog, I would take him in a heartbeat. Absolutely. What a kind, mellow, peaceful man who has done so much for freedom. Thank you, Roger Christie. I mean, there's a lot of people who I would just love to hear their opinion, in a xCannabis format on our blog. Be wonderful, but I doubt any of that's ever going to happen. And unless it's just something incredible that I just would love, like these other people's stories and their actions and their progress and things. I mean, it'd have to be pretty darn unique. And so anyway, that could be irrelevant for most of the time on xCannabis, so don't worry about that. And then if you do want to be a guest author and you've got an incredible story, or even if you just want to have me repost something for you, I'll give you the credit for the post, and then each point earned will go to you if I repost an article written by you. But it doesn't necessarily mean you'll be a guest author. It just means that you'll have like an OP, like an opinion on a newspaper. And then points and grams are worth 1/10 of a Bitcoin per 100 points. Points are worth 1 Bitcoin for 100 points, or 1,000 points equals 1 Bitcoin, essentially. That'll always be true no matter what the value of Bitcoin is. So if Bitcoin ends up being worth $50 a coin, I will hold true to that. Yeah, it's going up. It seems to be going really good, and so it may get up to worth $50 a coin. Right now it's worth about $10.50 to $11.10. Actually, I've got a little thing here on my blog. It'll tell us. Yeah, it's right in there. If you look on the side of the blog, you look at the Bitcoin exchange rates. This is within the last hour. It is going for $10.95 a coin. And you can get that value at mtgox.com. That's the Mountain Gox is where you do the Bitcoin exchanges. What else can I tell you? I'm going to make another video. I've got a couple more things I wanted to say about going forward with legalization, freedom in general, and what's gone on so far, and how the country is developing. And I think it's good to stay in the know. I was just at a dispensary today, and a lot of people didn't know much about I-502. They didn't realize it was still a Schedule I drug in Washington. I had to tell them about that, and they didn't realize that these DUI provisions are so restrictive. It's the same limit that Colorado rejected in, I think it was SB 626 last year, or in 2010. I'm sorry, 2010. It just seems like some people think, oh, legalization. I mean, that's how it is in California here. Everybody's like, wow, Washington legalized. So I get what these people in Normal and other people were saying, but I don't think that they've really educated the public much on what's going on. Or maybe the public is just unwilling to be educated, but regardless, I've had to educate people, and they're shocked at what's going on in Washington and I-502. They didn't really know many of these things. So it's interesting talking to people from a different state that are interested in cannabis legalization and what they think of it. Anyway, the Bitcoin system, the Canagram system is in place, and it will work better once I remove Discuss as our commenting system. Once Discuss is removed, then it will work better. And I'm going to give everybody, there's like, 700 or 800 people that are members of xCannabis, but I'm going to give everybody 100 points just because of the problems we've been having with the comments versus the main login. So the main login will still work. You can still log in with Facebook. You can still log in with Gmail. You can still log in with other systems. That's from a system called JanRain. JanRain is the login system that we use, and it's a well-accredited system. It works really well. So you can log in with just a regular WordPress login, or you can log in with any of the other systems that I've got listed there. and it will count all of your credits for comments. You won't have any problems between the two. So I just wanted to let you know we're working on it. We're getting things fixed. Thanks for sticking with us. This is Ryan at xCannabis.com. Watch for more updates. You know, this is a work in progress. We've been working on it for years, and we finally got it to a point where it's actually usable, but there's still some kinks. It's still in beta. So I'll mark that on the website that it's still in beta, so don't expect a perfect product yet. Thanks again. Take care.